The demand curve. So when you talk about demand curve, before going to demand curve, what is demand itself? Demand means you want something as a consumer, you want to buy. That is demand. You demanded for, you want something. So your ability and the willingness to buy, that makes your demand effective. So there's demand, which means the amount of goods and services that consumers are willing to buy at a given time, at a given period of time and price. That is what demand is. But demand must be effective. That is the point. So for demand to be effective, you must have the willingness and the ability to buy it. So how much is it? It's $5. This pen is $5. Oh, I want to buy this pen, but I don't have that amount of money to buy it. So there's no effective demand there. You wish to buy it, but you don't have the ability to buy it. That is, there's willingness, but no ability. It is ineffective demand. So there must be willingness and ability to buy for demand to be effective. Is it clear? Now, as soon as demand is done, we start talking about demand schedule. What is a demand schedule? A demand schedule is that table that shows the relationship between the quantity demanded of a product and the price of that product. Because demand is about quantity and price. So that means there's a relationship between quantity demanded and price, right? So a table that shows that relationship is called the demand schedule. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then that takes us to demand curve. What is a demand curve? Demand curve is a graph that shows the relationship between the quantity demanded and the price of a product. So as soon as a schedule is drawn, you have to follow it up with a demand curve, which is a graph. Clear? So that takes us to the law of demand. What is the law of demand? The law of demand talks about the inverse relationship between demand and price. So the law of demand says that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, and the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. So it means when the price goes up, the quantity demanded will fall. When the price falls, the quantity demanded increases. So there's an inverse relationship. Did you get it?
Yeah.
So the inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and price derives the law of demand, which says the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. Is it clear? So that takes us to the movement along the demand curve. So that takes us to the movement along the demand curve. I've not even forwarding, okay? So I've talked about it. Now, movement along the demand curve. We're talking about movement along the demand curve. We're talking about a cause that makes the demand curve to move along its curve. And this could be as a result of a change in price. So a change in price will cause the demand curve to move along, to make the demand curve to move, either contracting or expanding. So whenever there's a change in price, what we should expect in demand is called movement along the demand curve. So the movement along the demand curve is this. You know, we said the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, right? So if the price is high, the quantity demanded will contract. And if the price falls, the quantity demanded will expand. So that is the movement along the demand curve. There's contraction and expansion. Contraction will be as a result of an increase in price. Expansion will be as a result of a fall in price. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that's why I draw the graph like this. Draw a graph like this. It shows about contraction and expansion. When you see, look at the price. When the price increases, falls from 20 to 10, the quantity demanded expanded. But when the price increases from 20 to 30, the quantity demanded contracted. I think it's clear. So that is what we call expansion and contraction. So we go to the activity now. Yeah, they said an Indian cricket stadium has a capacity of 30,000. Are you there? The activity one here. So an Indian stadium has a capacity of 30,000. This figure shows the demand curve for tickets to attend the national cricket matches at the stadium. So we just go down to the question. They said, what will the attendance be if 400 RS is charged to attend the match? So go back to where 400 is. Based on the price, at 400, the quantity demanded will be 7.5. Did you get it? So that is 7,500 attendance. Is it clear? The second question says, what price must be charged to fill the stadium? That means to make the stadium capacity to be filled up. So that means the price must be what? At 200. At 200, that is the capacity, because it has a 30,000 capacity. So with 200 price charged on tickets, 30,000 spectators should be expected. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that's the answer for that. So we'll go to shift straight line demand curve. So for that, it's just about how the curve is a straight line. So there is movement along the demand curve. I think that is clear.
Yeah.
Now we'll go to shift in the demand curve. Are you there? A shift in demand curve. Whenever we talk about a shift in the demand curve, it's as a result of a change in non-pricing factors, not price factor here. If there's a change as a result of price, that will lead to movement along the demand curve. But a shift will be as a result of an increase or a change or a fall. A change means an increase or decrease, So if there's a change in non-pricing factors of demand, it will lead to shift in the demand curve, not movement. Movement will be as a result of a change in price. Shift will be as a result of a change in non-price factors like income. So what is income? Income is the amount of money you earn, the household earns. That's what income is, right? So if there's an increase in the level of income, demand is expected to increase. A fall in income would lead to what? A fall in the quantity demanded of a product.
The price will happen.
No, the price at this point is constant. Ceteris paribus, all things being equal. Price stays the same way, but other factors have changed. So when we talk about movement along the demand curve, price is not constant. All other factors that surround demand is constant. That's why we said ceteris paribus, all things being equal. So all factors remains unchanged, but price will change. That will lead to movement along the demand curve. But when it comes to shift along the demand curve, or when it comes to shift in the demand curve, it will be as a result of a non-price factor where price would remain the same. Do you get that? Okay. So income, I said, is the amount of money you earn, right? So if your income increases, it is expected of you to increase your level, your consumption, the quantity you demand for a product. That is clear, right? So an increase in the income level, an increase in the level of income will shift the demand curve rightward, because the quantity demanded will increase from Q1 to Q2, leading to a shift in the demand curve rightward from D1 to D2. While a fall in the level of income would reduce your disposable income and will shift the demand curve leftward from D1 to D3, because your quantity demanded would have fallen from Q1 to Q3. Is it clear?
Yes.
So a shift in demand curve would be as a result of a change in a non-pricing factor such as income. Is it clear? So that takes us to the MCQ question, the MCQ. It said, which of the following statements is true about a demand curve? Can you answer that? D, great. Question 2. They said, which of the following will cause a demand curve to shift to the left? D, great. I think it's clear. So go to the case study. AL's Big Burger. AL's Big Burger. Alan Bushwalker makes a living by selling burgers from a van. He parks his van at busy locations in Seattle, Washington, USA, and sells gigantic burgers, which have become his trademark in the area. Most of the time, his wife assists him. Detail of weekly demand for AL's Burger are shown in this table. So we have the table. So we're told, the first question says, describe what effective demand is. I just told you earlier, effective demand means that there's willingness and ability to buy a product. The willingness and the ability to buy a product at a given price and time is what we call effective demand. I think effective demand is clear, right?
Yes.
Then they said question 2, draw a table, which is already drawn there. That's a table. I think you can see the table there. Draw a demand curve. Sorry, that's its curve. We have the table already. I think it's clear. All right. Question 3. AL currently charges $3 for his giant burgers. How many burgers would he expect to sell at his price? At $3, he should expect to sell 600 burgers at $3. Yeah, did you get it?
The demand is here.
Yeah, it could be that way. It could be straight line. They are both demand curve. I think it's clear.
Yes.
Question 4. If AL wanted to sell 1,400 burgers, what price would he have to charge? For 1,400, he needs to charge $1. I think it's clear.
Yes.
And the 5th question says, describe what the inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded for the product is. Use this case as an example in your answer. So first, what is inverse relationship? Inverse relationship takes us to what the law of demand is. There's inverse relationship between the quantity demanded of a product and price, because the law of demand says that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, and vice versa. The lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. So that means when price increases, demand falls. When price falls, demand increases. That is an inverse relationship. So according to the graph, it is expected to sell the least at the price of 4. And it's expected to sell the highest at the price of 0.5. So that means there's inverse relation between price and quantity demanded. So if AL sells at 0.5, it's expected to sell weekly 1,600. If it sells at 1.5, it's expected that the quantity demanded would fall from 1,600 to 1,200 to get it. So that's the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Any question about that? Okay. That's chapter 3.
So we did